You ever wanted to enter a Smash Bros. Ultimate tournament to compete against other players, but struggle to find one or how it works? Today I'm answering your questions and help you on your journey to your first Smash tournament. Before we start talking about the tournament itself, it is important to figure out what your goals are. Why do you want to attend a Smash tournament in the first place? If you are somebody who wants to see where your current skill level lies and you want to get better at the game, I think that's a good reason. Maybe you just want to enjoy a hobby with other people who share the same hobby as you, and that's another good reason in my opinion. Or maybe you want to make some money. Okay, wait, I have to stop you here. Unlike other esports like League of Legends or Counter-Strike, Smash Ultimate is a grassroots community and is built from the ground up entirely by its own players without support from the developers or publishers. While Nintendo sometimes forces tournament organizers to keep Steve unbanned and fiddles around with their rules a little bit, the community doesn't really get monetary support from Nintendo. Payout in Smash tournaments work like this. Imagine a tournament with about 100 players. Each and every single one pays a fee for a pot. This fee can range from 5 to 20 bucks. This entirely depends on what the TOs, the tournament organizers, set up in the first place. Let's just say every player has to pay 10 bucks for the pot. And with 100 players entering the tournament, that are 1000 bucks in total for the pot. This pot is usually split between the 1st through 7th place of the tournament. Sometimes the payout goes only to the top 3, and sometimes even more players get a cut. But the winner of the tournament is always getting the biggest cut, usually about 40 to 50%, or 400 to 500 bucks. 500 bucks for winning a tournament sounds pretty neat on paper, but there are some issues. First of all, the 500 bucks are not guaranteed. There are 100 players competing at a tournament, and everybody wants to win. Of course, if you're very good, you have a shot to win. But sometimes you have off days where you don't play at your best. Sometimes there are suddenly very good players at the tournament instead of the local players you usually beat, or your local players have a good day and they simply played better than you. In short, playing Smash for the money is almost like gambling. You hope that you can make some profit, but there are so many other factors like even bracket luck and not hoping to run into a troublesome matchup or your bracket demon that this whole playing for money thing is just not sustainable. On top of that, it costs a lot of money to even get to an event. You have to travel by car, train or plane. For a longer 3-day event you need to stay at a hotel. The tournament itself can range from 20 bucks for a local to 200 bucks for a major event. You also need to eat and drink outdoors. Suddenly you already have to pay about 200 bucks to even participate at a 100-player event. And if you get second place, you might have managed to get your money back. And with that, I mean no profit at all, just getting it back. And when you place third, you already lost your money. That's the reason why I heavily advise against having money as a goal. I think if you want to make money, you're better off flipping burgers at McDonald's than playing Game & Watch at Smash tournaments. Now let's talk about the tournament bracket. All tournaments have rules that the players have to follow, otherwise they will get disqualified, or DQ'd in short.
Get out! It was worth it!
Some tournaments have more rules than others, where they ban certain mechanics like Steve planking, or in other games like Super Smash Bros. Melee, they ban techniques like ice climbers wobbling, or introduce a ledge grab limit to avoid defensive gameplay and timeouts. These rules are usually on the tournament's main page and can be read at any given point. Going over every single rule would be pretty tedious and boring for a video, and I think all of us can read some text before we register for a tournament. However, I still want to go over the most important rules. The majority of Smash tournaments use a double elimination bracket. Double elimination means that you have one extra life before going out for good at the tournament. For this type of bracket we have two sides, a winner's side and a loser's side. Every player starts on the winner's side of the bracket, and if you lose one set, you move down to the loser's side for a second chance. If you lose a set on the loser's side of the bracket, you are out of the tournament. At the end of the tournament, in Grand Finals, the last player standing on the winner's side plays against the last player standing on the loser's side. Because the player on the winner's side hasn't lost a single set so far, they only have to win one set to win the entire tournament. Meanwhile, the player on the loser's side has to win 2 sets. One set to bring the player on the winner's side down to the loser's side, and the other one to knock them out of the tournament completely. Sets are usually played out in a best of 3 or best of 5 setting. For best of 3, you have to win 2 out of 3 games to be the winner of the set. And in the best of 5, you have to win 3 out of 5 games to be the winner. Most tournaments start their bracket with a best of 3 and later at the top 3 or top 8. Sometimes even earlier, they usually switch to best of 5. Sets are played out like this. Both players announce the character first and then they go into a stage striking phase. In Europe we have a unified rule set consisting of 9 stages: Small Battlefield, Hollow Bastion, Battlefield, Smashville, Pokemon Stadium 2, Town and City, Kalos Pokemon League, Final Destination and Yoshi's Story. We agreed to these stages in competitive play because they are the most consistent and fair. Imagine having Palutina's Temple legal, a Sonic punches you one time and then runs away for 7 minutes straight. This is not only broken, but also unpleasant to watch from a viewer's perspective. Through rock, paper, scissors, we decide who is allowed to strike stages first to get rid of 3 out of the 9 stages. Player 2 then strikes 4 more stages, and at the end it goes back to player 1 and they decide on one of the remaining 2 stages. When game 1 is complete, the winner of game 1 is allowed to ban 3 of the 9 stages, and the loser of game 1 is allowed to pick 1 out of the 6 remaining stages. This doesn't sound too complicated, but the problem is that every rule set is different when it comes to stage picks and bans. Many other rule sets don't even have Yoshi's Story as a stage. Some rule sets only allow 5 stages in the first game, and starting from game 2 onwards, the remaining stages are allowed to be picked as so-called counter-pick stages. Some tournaments have 3 bans after game 1, some have 2 bans, and some even have a rule called Dave's Stupid Rule, or in short DSR, which won't let you pick the last stage you won on. But even for DSR, there are multiple different variations of it. The general order of actions is usually the same. You pick characters, you strike stages, you play out game 1, you ban and pick stages, you play game 2, etc. But the contents of the different actions vary from tournament to tournament. It's always best to read the rules of the tournament before you register for it. A lot of tournaments have a piece of paper with the rules next to every gaming setup, and if not, you can always look up the rules on the tournament page. But where exactly is the tournament page? And that's where we get into our next topic. How do you even find tournaments in the first place? StartGG is the main page for almost every tournament, and that does not only count for Smash tournaments. Rivals of Ether, Street Fighter, Tekken, 2XKO, you name it. A ton of games are on StartGG.
What the hell is this?
However, searching for a tournament on StartGG is not always the best. Sure, you can use the search tool and go to advanced search to find a tournament, but better ways exist. There's a website called smashcourts.com, which lists a ton of different Discord servers for all kinds of different Smash games. And you can probably find a Discord in your region. Many different countries are listed here, and if you want to find a tournament, it is best to join your region's Discord server and look for a channel dedicated to tournaments. If this channel doesn't exist, you can also ask other users if there are tournaments in a specific region like London, France, Tokyo, etc. At this point, I want to be very clear that you should never tell anybody your address. It is very dangerous. You should be more broad about it and ask if there are any tournaments in this state or in that big city. Many other tournaments are found through advertising on websites like Twitter, and then there are tournaments hosted by community figures, streamers and content creators every week or month. If you're interested in online tournaments, I can give you a few pointers here. For Europe, we have the EU Wi-Fi Weeklies hub. Here are a bunch of different online tournaments listed for basically every day of the week. In the US, there is Hungrybox and his Cashbox series, which he hosts every week. He alternates between Smash Ultimate and Melee, plus he sometimes has special Cashbox events with other games or different rules. Another creator is Mela Bunny and she hosts Tiara Takedown. This tournament series has over 100 attendees every time. Feel free to check out her stream as well. And for Australia, the website allsmash.com.au seems like a good starting point. They even have different Discord servers listed for offline and online Smash. And upon visiting the Discord, it seems active and pretty clean as well. I think all of these places are a good starting point for you. Now that we've found a bunch of different tournaments, the last question is, what should be your first tournament? Personally, I recommend to participate in an online tournament or at one of your local tournaments first. This way, you can slowly get familiar with the Smash Ultimate community. In an online tournament, you don't feel as much pressure as at an offline event, and you can concentrate on the rules of the game and how tournaments are played out. If I had to give you an order of tournaments, I would first participate in an online tournament, then find a small local near my area to compete offline, then a bigger tournament in my country or state, and at the end it would be time for a big major tournament outside of my country. But you have to be careful with major tournaments. And no, I'm not telling you to pack your holy trinity of keys, wallet and mobile phone when traveling or some sort. I'm not your mom, even though I have long hair. If you go to a big major as your first tournament, chances are very high that nobody will know you and you probably feel kinda stranded. If you already know some players and go with them to a big event, you will have a better experience. That's why I suggest to try local tournaments first. With less players around, it's easier to get to know each other. But what tournament you will enter first is totally up to you. And when you go to your tournament, always remember, there are many players who practice this game for years and it can be really hard to get far. Don't get discouraged if you didn't win a set or game. Your first few tournaments are always gonna be difficult, but you have to start somewhere. If you win, hey, that's great. But don't be afraid to lose. The best players in the world started getting their ass whooped, but they didn't give up. They learned from their losses and became better players. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I could help you on your journey to become a competitive Smash player. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe. I see you all next time. Have a good one, bye bye.